Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for Grit, Guts, and Gab, where we're discussing resilience, determination, and perseverance. And again, basically anything that comes to mind. I'm Tamika,
I'm Jenny.
and we're glad to have you with us today. So, what's on the docket today?
I
Jen?
think we should talk about we're in January.
Okay, so we're
Maybe,
going to get 10% happier.
yeah, I think we should talk about being 10% happier. Small wins, big year. I mean, we have almost all of 2026.
That's true. That's true. I could stand to be 10% happier. It wouldn't hurt. Okay, picture it. Not like Golden Girls, where she would be like, Sicily, 1945. But picture it. It's Monday morning. You have the same desk, the same work, same inbox. But what if by March you feel just a little bit lighter? Maybe Mondays don't feel as heavy and as miserable.
I would like that. Definitely.
So, what do you think about 10%?
I like the 10% because it's not a black and white. And it's like not saying I got to be a 100% happy or I'm not happy at all. I like the small goal for each day.
Hmm. Well, I guess today we're going to try to set some simple, realistic goals that helps us get our first win in a few minutes.
Yeah, I really like the practicality of like doing one small thing each day to maybe feel a little bit happier.
Now, I don't know if you've ever found yourself in situations that you had that sort of black and white, as you said, that all or nothing sort of thinking that if this doesn't happen, people are like, if I don't win the lottery, mom, it's going to be miserable and poor. Like,
Yeah,
but why?
I don't know. It's like setting a New Year's Eve resolution too. It's like I'm going to work out for 3 hours or nothing at all.
Gotcha. You're right. Instead of doing like, I'll do 5 minutes and walk around the block or something.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, when we think about our habits, we want to make sure that they're doable. So the reason that the 10% works, as you pointed out, that it is approachable, it is possible, perhaps, and we're not chasing perfection, we're chasing progress. I always say that practice makes permanent. Same thing with this sort of thought process that the more you do the right things over and over again, that eventually you'll see some progress.
definitely. I feel like you got to do like one small change, not every day, but even every other day, or at least it has to be top of mind of what you can do to maybe be just a little happier.
Yeah, and when you think about happiness, it can show up in everyday moments, like just having a better mood or more energy or just feeling connected with people, family, friends, and just getting one of those nagging things done, folding that laundry that's been staring you in the face for a week. So those are things that could, I guess, add that little bit of relief, have a small win along the way. I think it helps.
I do like checklists. I'm kind of that person. And so I always have a one or two things that I have on my checklist that are like, I really need to get this done today. And then I have all the nice to have that would be nice to get done, but that's okay if it doesn't. It can happen another day. And so it feels really good to check off one thing that I needed to get done that I got done.
Gotcha. Now, do you have one of those checklists that you just keep moving everything to the next day and just every day just keep the same list is the same list every day for like a month?
It changes from time to time. Like,
Because it sounds like you are at least being intentional about finding at least one or two things instead of saying, I do have to finish everything on this list today.
yeah, I give myself some grace. I feel like being a mom and working full time and It gets a little hard to balance things that you need to do or you have to get done. And so I give myself 1 to 2 things each day.
And I know you've probably heard of like scaling questions, like on a scale of 1 to 10, like, how are you feeling or something. When somebody gives a response to that, let's say they say a 6, what should their next kind of goal be? Is it 10?
6.5.
6.5. So tell me more about that.
If it's only 10%, that would be 7, right? But that might be too much for people to accomplish. So maybe it is just a half. And so taking at least a little step and tracking your progress. People don't always track their progress. And then they're like, one bad thing happens and then it's a horrible day. And maybe you need to track each day for progress. So, like, today was a 6, maybe tomorrow is a 7, maybe the next day is a 6.5, maybe you get a 4, maybe you get an 8. So that way you can kind of see over time. So, like, by March, maybe you are a little happier and you can prove it each day.
Okay.
I don't
And at
know,
least
something to
compare
think
yourself
about.
to
Like
where
having,
you were before. You can be like, 2 months ago, I was a 6 almost every day, and now it's more 7 days. But when you said the 10%, well, 10% of 6 technically would only be 0.6. So 6.5 would be almost there. So I guess we are almost at that 10% mark there. So, what kind of things can people do that are free? Because, when people think about happiness, I'm thinking I could be on a yacht, have an all inclusive vacation. I
I'm
don't know that these
shut
are realistic
sun.
every day. So, what are some smaller things that people can actually achieve that are listening to this podcast?
I would say get up, go for a walk for 5 minutes, a brisk walk around your neighborhood, weather permitting. I'm in the frozen tundra of Minnesota, not always so great, but today the sun is shining. So I'm going to try to at least get outside for a minute, walk to the mailbox, maybe walk around a little bit more and come back in so I get a little sunshine. Um, you could connect, meeting with a friend for 10 minutes, chatting, see how their day is going, sending a text to somebody so that you feel like you're connecting. Maybe it is doing a hobby or something that you like. Maybe it is getting that basket of laundry done.
Hmm.
It could be a lot of different things.
So basically, no big hocus pocus, pull a rabbit out of the hat kind of thing. Just the small little nudges that you keep repeating over and over again.
Yeah. Maybe it's eating one healthy meal a day instead of going out to eat. Maybe it is like cooking something that brings you a little bit of joy and happiness. Even if you eat crappy food all day, if you're trying to do those New Year's resolutions,
Right.
but
You're like,
then
I had carrot cake. I got a vegetable in. There was a carrot in there. Done.
maybe you make yourself chicken and vegetables for dinner, if you haven't eaten great all day. Even those little wins can be considered a success.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. When you were talking about reaching out to a friend or sending a text, I was in a meeting one time, and that was one of the things that the person started off with, kind of like an icebreaker sort of activity. They said, think of 3 people you haven't connected with in a while, and I want you to reach out to them and let them know how much they mean to you. So they took 5 minutes, just send them a quick message, say, I know it's been a while, but you've been on my mind and you mean this much to me or whatever. And by the end, most people had gotten a response from at least one of the 3 people. And it was like, it really made my day. You don't know how much I needed this. And just simple things like that, when we take ourselves, I guess, sometimes away from what's going on with us to think about someone else, it also, I feel like, it made me happier that day to know that I made somebody else's day. So I, just wanted to share that little nugget there.
I do that almost every day. My daughter is at college. I send a text like, have a great day, love you. And sometimes I get a response back, sometimes not, but it makes me happy when I think about her. So even just sending the text, not even needing a reply back, is enough to give me some good feelings.
And you know how sometimes every day can feel like Groundhog Day, that you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. I think that sometimes it may be helpful to maybe pair maybe a with every barrier that we are facing, maybe have a bridge to connect that. So if you have back to back calls, maybe bridge that walk that you talked about, or stand up and just take some deep breaths, or walk in place if you're in the frozen tundra, as you pointed out. Anything to just be able to help, because when we have that negative self talk, it can be tough. Like, but we get tough feedback from like our supervisors. The beginning of the year, now people are having those end of the year discussions of how are you?
Yeah.
You're thinking you're like a 10, and they're like, I'm thinking more 5.5. And it can be disappointing to hear that information.
Yeah, definitely. I know that I have 2 pound weights at my desk. And when I am sitting too long in meetings, I will stand up with my weights and I do a little workout with them, trying to get my blood flow so that I can pay attention. I have a hard time with attention with back to back meetings, or when people start saying stuff and I don't really like it, I have a hard time not listening.
You're like, I've tuned you out when you said what. You're like one.
Pretty
That's all you're
much.
hearing. And you're like, let me get the weights so I can hear words. Just don't hit the computer screen with it. You're like, bam, bam, we're working now.
Yeah.
Kickboxing over here.
As long as you don't have to have your camera on, because that's a little distracting when you're like doing kickboxing with 2 pound weights.
Well, I mean, we talked about sending notes to people. We talked about going for a walk, maybe standing up and doing some breathing. We have our weights that we're using, cleaning up that laundry or tidying up your home in some way, checking off your checklist, at least one item off that list as a way to try to help. So hopefully, some of these tricks and tips are things that may be beneficial to someone, that you can try maybe one little micro sort of behavior that you can try to incorporate into your week to make it a little bit better, so that you can look back and say, you know what? I am 10% happier now. Hmm.
Yeah. You know what else I do in the winter?
What's that?
I play YouTube. There is beach scenes on YouTube. Sometimes it's the beach noises, like you can hear the ocean. Sometimes they have
Mhm.
music with it. I like the ones where the ocean, and I close my eyes for just a minute and I picture myself on the beach. That is my very happy place. And
Okay.
so I picture the ocean. I can see it. I can hear it. I can smell it. I can feel that ocean air. I can feel the sunshine on my face. And if I do that several times, sometimes when I'm very stressed in my day, and then it's like instant relief on my body.
Okay. So it's like you transform into some tropical place, and I guess being in a colder place, anything warm, you're like, yes, I'm here. This is heaven. Yeah. But
Yes.
so when you mention that, it makes me think of how we can remind ourselves to do this, because it sounds good. Come on a list. Yeah, I remember to do that. But how do you remember to do it? One way to do that is pairing it with a trigger. So if you get a coffee every morning, or you watch your YouTube tropical stuff, then maybe you're walking in place while you're doing that. Or maybe you're doing your 2 pound weight while you're at the beach over here. Or perhaps maybe you send that little thank you note or something while you're doing that. So that could be like, okay, this goes hand in hand with this, and it can be a way to remind yourself to do it, because we all know we've had things that like, girl, I'll call you, of course we'll meet up for lunch, but then we don't really follow up with those things. So by having that sort of trigger, I don't know if watching YouTube is the first thing you do, or if there are other habits that you do, like in the morning, of course the usual brush your teeth, wash your face, do your hair, but aside from that, because it may be a little difficult to be brushing your teeth and sending a message, so let's keep it simple. Any thoughts about that?
You know, I usually, when I log into my day and I have to read my emails, that's when I play the beach noises, because sometimes there's a lot of emails and a lot of work that's piled on. And it's like, how am I going to get through this day? And it's just that reminder, like, I got the beach. Eventually, I'm going to be at the beach. And so it's a way that I kind of set myself up for the day, just taking a moment to breathe, saying, I can get through anything and I'm going to feel good getting through it today.
So, how do you help someone, I guess, make it stick? How do you get it to stick? What are some ways that we can get these new habits to stick so we're all 10% happier?
I read that you do have to do something 18 days in a row to make it a habit. I don't
I
know
thought
if
it was
that's still
21
out.
days. I thought it was 21. Did they reduce it to 18? You're like, you did it 5 days. You got
Maybe
it.
21 days, 18 days, who knows how many
Yeah.
days. But,
Potato, potato. Yeah. Yeah.
but if you build it into your routine on a regular basis, then it does kind of stick. But you do have to build it into your routine. But you can't be mad at yourself when you miss it either. So
Right.
that just kind of ruins any progress that you have made. If you're like, oh yeah, I didn't do it today, so whatever, I'm not going to do it ever again. That
Or
black and white
maybe
thinking.
brainstorming a bunch of things that could potentially that bring you joy or make you happy, whether that be the video, walking, taking a deep breath, even if it's things you never tried, just jot them all down and pick something from the list because people are more likely to do things that are written down than they're not. And then the other thing is if maybe tell a friend or a teammate or someone. So, because now you have kind of an accountability partner who could check in with you and be like, hey, how's it going? Were you able to do that? How is your, and then you can celebrate the wins that you have and hopefully build on that momentum. Again, we're not chasing perfection, we're chasing progress.
Yeah. 10%, not a lot.
Yes. Baby steps. Baby
Baby
steps.
steps. What are you going to try? I think I'm going to try, like, I need to get up and stretch during my day. I have been sitting at my desk all week, and then I get really stiff because I'm old. And so, like, I got to get up and stretch during my day a little bit more. I'm going to try really hard on my lunch breaks to get up, stretch, move more.
Well, I think you know how you're in meetings and sometimes they were like, we'll give you 5 minutes back. And I think I'll take is preventing that I don't have to do a bio break, of course. I would like to take some of that time and maybe go for a brief brisk walk for the 3 minutes or something and then come back because I do think that that may help my ability to focus and lock in. Just moving usually helps people focus more and be more
Yeah.
attentive. And I do think it will help my mood and help me be 10% happier.
Something that we can do is if you have a calendar, I have like a calendar, right, that I keep. I'm a big calendar person. I think I'm just going to write a number down each day of how the day was at the end of the day. Was it a 5? Was it a 6? Was it an 8? Was it a 10? Was it a 0? I
I
mean,
like that. I may join you with that to, so we can be, you can be my accountability partner there.
oh, perfect.
I
So
love
that way
it.
we can kind of see over time, see if by March we are a little happier.
Mhm. I believe in us. I think we will be.
10%, all that it takes.
So if you're listening, pick something. If you're driving in your car, I don't want you trying to write down something while you're driving. Wait till you park, pick something. We would love to hear from you. Find out what worked. Drop us a line. We want to know what your tiny wins are. What are you
Yeah,
doing to try to work on being 10% happier?
put it in the comments of the YouTube.
Yes, we would love to hear from you.
We would love
And
to hear from you.
yeah, what else you have? You got anything else? How you going to wrap up today?
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I believe in everyone who is locked in and listening. And again, we're not chasing perfection, just progress and 10% progress at that. You can do it. We believe in you. So
I
thank you for
totally,
joining us. Grit, Guts, and Gab discussing resilience, determination, and perseverance. And I'm sorry, Jenny, what you have?
no, that everyone has the ability. All you need is the little bit of motivation to do it.
Yes, and we're called motivation over here. Motivation. Thank you for joining Motivation and Motivation. I'm Tamika again. Thank
I'm
you for joining Grit, Guts, and Gab.
Thanks everyone.